Hey there, and welcome to this week's episode of the Dadcast. Last week we kind of did a little catch up with San Diego Comic-Con, talking about like the figures and toys being announced there. This week we actually have some real announcements from Comic-Con. Nothing bigger than Robert Downey Jr. back in the MCU. Not back as you think, or at least we think. We don't know yet. We gotta wait till things pan out, but a lot of people already have their opinions on it. Some people love it, some people hate it. I'm kind of in the middle. It's kind of funny, when the news broke about Robert Downey Jr. coming back to the MCU as Doctor Doom, I didn't hear about it right away. I was doing something, and my buddy texted me, is like, how do you feel about Robert Downey Jr. as Doctor Doom? And I was like, dude, I haven't seen Deadpool yet, man. Why are you spoiling shit? He's like, no, it was announced today at San Diego Comic-Con. I was like, oh. So at first I went from like really pissed to being really excited to then being really intrigued. At first I was kind of like, when I thought about it, I was like, this is kind of weird. How are they going to do this? But when I think about it a little bit more, I think there's a couple ways. Obviously, they could do it. They could do the infamous Iron Man storyline where Doom was Iron Man. Just flip it to Iron Man being Doom. They could do that. They could do in multiverse thing. Tony Stark became Doctor Doom. Though they did say Victor Von Doom in the press conference. Like the Russo brothers did say Victor Von Doom. So, but I mean, like, they could go in many ways, or he could just be Victor Von Doom, because if you think about the character Doom, one, I don't want an origin story for Doom. I think it's best if we just kind of, Doom is here. We don't need to maybe hear about his past, but no like flashback scenes. Just have him in the helmet, in the mask, with the cape, and we never see his face. If we do that, like a la Judge Dredd or Dredd 3D, with Keith Urban, and just do it that way. We can, we can just have him, because he's an awesome actor. Like, he's played Sherlock Holmes, he's played Charlie Chaplin, the dude from Oppenheimer, who I can't remember his name. Like, it's not like Robert Downey Jr. is a one-trick pony. He just plays these wisecracking characters. He does do that a lot. And that's his bread and butter, but he is an actual actor. He can actually act. So I think like just putting him in the mask, and I think he's the kind of actor who would go for that, where he would just be in the mask. So if you did that, I think it works. Like, I think he can act his way into it. And I mean, Doom can have an accent. He doesn't have to have an accent. That's why you leave his, origin, a mystery, because then we don't have to have him have an accent. He could have spent time in America going to college with Reed Richards. There can be some allusion to the Fantastic Four, even though that takes place, I think, in the 60s, something like that. But, I mean, they could always do some sort of weird sciencey thing where the Fantastic Four, or something happens to them, they're in stasis, they go into space, and they're traveling in hyperspace. And I believe, and please correct me if I'm wrong, but don't blame me, I'm not a scientist, but if you're traveling at the speed of light, you are aging slower than those on the planet. So I mean, they could be off traveling at the speed of light somewhere, so they age slower, and they can come back to the modern Marvel universe and be the same age as they were in the 60s. I mean, that might be a plot point of the Fantastic Four movie. It starts in the 60s, and they're doing all this stuff, and then that's when they, fly off into space, and they go at the speed of light, and that sets up Avengers Doomsday, which that will be interesting, because I think you're only going to have two of the original Avengers in that movie. I think, it's not confirmed or anything like that, but like the only ones still doing stuff in the MCU are Mark Ruffalo and Chris Hemsworth. So you might only have Thor and Hulk there, no Iron Man, no Steve Rogers Captain America. You will have Falcon Captain America there. Black Widow's dead. And I don't know about Hawkeye. I don't know if Jeremy Renner is under contract anymore. He hasn't done anything since the TV show for Hawkeye. So, I mean, that remains to be seen. I mean, maybe you get Vision and Wanda, who aren't original Avengers, but they were kind of there, and maybe we get the variant of Quicksilver from the Fox universe. So that will be interesting just to see how it is. I haven't seen Deadpool yet, though. By the time this goes up, maybe I will have seen Deadpool because I plan on seeing it this evening. I know. I should be up to date on these things, but the problem with being the Ninten-Dad is finding time and a babysitter to go see a movie on a Friday or Saturday night. It doesn't happen that often. So it's a Wednesday right now. So that will be a Wednesday night matinee kind of thing for me and the wife. And Bowie wants to see Deadpool, which I don't know. That might be interesting. Like, I think he can make it through the theater, and he doesn't really understand what's going on. And he watches like all the Jurassic Park and Jurassic World movies, which are pretty violent. He watches, the King Kong Godzilla movies, which can be like over the top violence. So he might be able to do Deadpool. Like, he doesn't understand what curse words are and things like that. And Deadpool is done in such a tongue-in-cheek thing. I know I'm going to get stares. If we bring him tonight, I'm going to get stares. It is what it is. I mean, I'm a child of the 80s. I went and saw Conan, Commando, Rambo, like 2, 3, 4, whatever, in the theaters, like all those violent R-rated action movies my dad took me to see. And I'm fine. I mean, I'm not a man-child at all. Not in the least. I don't have childish things. Anyways, but yeah, so no Deadpool spoilers in the comments, please. But yeah, like, what Avengers are going to be there? Like, the Marvels, I mean, that was so unpopular. Who knows if they trot them out? Same with She-Hulk. It's one of those things that's like, who are you going to pick? Because originally you just like, okay, the Thor movie didn't like blow off box office doors, but Chris Hemsworth is bankable and likable. But yeah, a lot of these newer characters they've introduced just have not like clicked with audiences. So it's kind of like, are they going to be part of the team? Or are they going to have a small part like Captain Marvel did in Endgame? It's going to be, it's kind of one of those things. It's like, what are the Russo brothers going to do? Because, I mean, I think for Endgame, they did kind of write Captain Marvel out just with the unpopularity of the character in the MCU. So, I mean, I could see them doing the same thing with Doomsday is like, okay, these characters, we've established them. They're not very popular. We're not going to have them in there. But, I mean, just off the top of my head, I'm going to take notes real quick. Off the top of my head, I think Thor and Hulk are going to be there. I'm just writing down so I remember. Doctor Strange, probably. Somehow the Fantastic Four has got to be there. Like, just you got to think they worked their way in there. Maybe Scarlet Witch and Vision. Oh, not Scarlet Witch. She's a bad guy. Maybe Vision. I forgot about the end of Madness. So maybe Vision, Thor, Hulk, Doctor Strange, Vision, Fantastic Four, possibly Vision, maybe Spidey. I don't know what the deal with is Sony and Disney right now. You got to think Falcon Cap. Captain Falcon. That's a F-Zero reference. Captain Falcon will be there. Probably Winter Soldier. They might be fighting the Dark Avengers in that. Maybe Doom is the leader of that. So we could see Red Hulk. We could see U.S. Agent. Can't remember who else was recruited for that. But also for the Avengers team, we could see Daredevil. Maybe Punisher. I don't know if they've re-established the Punisher or not. Maybe some X-Men characters, like bring Hugh Jackman back. Maybe Deadpool. Again, haven't seen that movie, so there could be answers to that in the movie. But yeah, those are just kind of off the top of my head who you could bring back for Doomsday. And I think it would work. Like, again, what I don't want, and they could pull it off, so don't get me wrong, like, I don't want to say, oh, I don't want this, and then it turns out to be great. What I don't want, though, is this to be any version of Tony Stark. Like, I don't want him to take, like, if the mask gets knocked off or he takes the mask off, to see Tom Holland crying because his hero Tony Stark's a bad guy. I don't want that at all. I really don't, mostly because that's derivative. It's also very predictable, and sometimes predictable can be good. Like, what you predict to happen, like Jon Snow killing the Night King in Game of Thrones, doesn't mean you have to steer away from predictability, even if your audience guesses it, because if you're telling the story properly, then you've led breadcrumbs and hints as to what should happen. So if you guess it during the movie or during a TV series, I mean, that's fine. But yeah, if we haven't even seen a trailer because they haven't started filming yet, and we already guess a major plot point or twist, probably should avoid that predictability because that's too predictable and people are going to be let down by it. So I wouldn't go with that. So yes, I hope he is Victor Von Doom, not a variant of Tony, and hopefully he never takes the mask off, or if the mask comes off, they do something to where he doesn't look like Tony because he's horribly scarred, or they just don't even say like, oh, he looks like Tony Stark or some shit like that. Just avoid Tony Stark at all turns in this one. Just no Tony Stark in it. But I mean, that's what I'm hoping for. It's like, I know a lot of people are poo-pooing this idea. I mean, even if they do go the Tony Stark variant route, I'm still going to give the Russo brothers the benefit of the doubt. I know a lot of people aren't giving Marvel Studios these days the benefit of the doubt, and they probably shouldn't, because the best they've done since, with the exception of Guardians, the best they've done since Spider-Man has been meh. It's been like, meh. Kind of thing like that. Like, that's the best they've churned out. There hasn't been great or jaw-dropping or awesome. It's just been meh. So I really think the Russo brothers can do it. And I think they're going to take their time to write a script, and they're not going to try and tick boxes. I think they're going to put art first, and then we'll see the various Avengers come in there with little to no preachy message, which is what a lot of people have been complaining about for Marvel Studios these days. So if we can get that, if we can just get a story first and then you weave any kind of message or anything in there, I mean, that's being subtle about it. That's kind of the way you're supposed to go. So if they do that, I'm good. But yeah, just know, I don't want him to be Tony Stark at all. But again, if it ends up being Tony Stark somehow, I'll still give it a chance. I'm not going to write it off. Just like, I know a lot of people are writing it off right now. They're just like, oh, they've run out of ideas, blah, 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 blah. I mean, it's not just because they recasted an actor doesn't mean they've run out of ideas. Like, they're bringing Robert Downey Jr. back because, they probably do need his star power right now to carry an Avengers movie. But I don't think it's we have to, like, we're doing this out of total desperation for the story. I think the Russo brothers want him to play Doom. Like, maybe they had a short list, and maybe on that short list, like with a question mark, was RDJ kind of thing like that. Just thinking about, like, maybe we cast Robert in this. I mean, he wears the mask the entire time, no one's going to see him, so, and it'll get a big pop at Comic-Con and people will be talking about it, which seems to be Disney's kind of MO these days. Whether it's good or bad, they want you talking about them, which I'm doing now, which is fine. But I'm talking about it in kind of a positive light and inquisitive light, unlike a lot of the negative talk around Disney stuff, which I think Disney just doesn't care, because if you're watching and things like that, that's all that matters to them. My wife's working in our son's bedroom downstairs, and it sounds like someone was opening the door to the attic, and I was like, who's coming up here? Creep me out for a second. Sorry. But yeah, so it's kind of like Disney's just like, we don't care if you hate watch or watch for content to make fun of us. As long as you watch, as long as those streaming numbers are there, as long as you're subscribing. I think that's kind of what Disney wants. So, which is why I didn't watch The Acolyte, or any Disney Star Wars since like Mandalorian Season 2 and the Book of Boba Fett, because did not like the Book of Boba Fett at all, and Mandalore Season 2 just seemed like it was a setup for the Ahsoka show and other things. So I didn't care to go past that, because I'm not going to hate watch. I'm not going to watch bad things for content. I got too much to do with my time than to watch crappy things. But yeah, so I mean, we're all talking about it, some of us in a positive, some of us in an inquisitive, some of us in a negative light, but we're all talking. So they reached that goal of RDJ. But I don't think this is stunt casting. I don't think they're doing this in a sense of we have to do this out of desperation. I think there's a story there, and either, hopefully, if they do go the Tony Stark route, it's a good story that we'll all enjoy. That's what I'm hoping for, is an enjoyable, good story. But I hope it's not bad. But I'm hoping it was just like, this is Victor Von Doom, and the actor is going to wear the mask the entire time, and They just had like a short list of people. I'm sure Mads Mikkelsen was kind of on that list. But in all honesty, and I love Mads Mikkelsen, it's just kind of like the more and more it got dragged out of Doctor Doom being cast and no Doctor Doom not even mentioned in the Fantastic Four movie, I was just kind of like, I don't want it to be Mads now. It just became so like predictable kind of thing like that. Like, oh yeah, Mads Mikkelsen's gonna get cast as this. That I was just like, I don't want it to be Mads. Like that's the safe choice. Let's not go with the safe choice. And they went with a risky, also at the same time safe choice with Robert Downey Jr. Like safe choice as in he's an excellent actor. Risky as in everyone from here till they stop talking about the MCU movies are going to know him as Iron Man. Like whenever Robert Downey Jr. gets brought up, Iron Man actor Robert Downey Jr., he'll never escape that ever. So kind of risky in that sense. But I think he's got the acting chops to pull it off, and I hope he does, especially if it's Victor Von Doom. But yeah, like I said, I think there was probably a short list that they had, and I think they liked working with Robert Downey Jr. I mean, that's probably why he's cast. And so like they're like, we're probably like, Robert can do this. RDJ can do this. He can do this. He can do this. Kind of like back and forth, that they think he can do it, and they finally like convince themselves to do it. They were probably like, oh, we want him as Doctor Doom, but we already had him as Iron Man. Oh no. And they probably just kept trying to talk themselves into it. They were just like, no, we can do this. We can pull this off. Robert can pull it off. Everyone, this will be great. So I think that's kind of how it went. I don't think this was like, you know what would be awesome and will get us a lot of clicks. So I don't think that was like really the topic of discussion for that casting. Because it is, like I said, it's safe because it's Robert Downey Jr. coming back to the MCU, so it's going to get people talking, going to get eyes. But it's very risky because you're going to get a lot of criticism for it, which they have. So, and honestly, I'm going to withhold my criticism until the movie comes out and if it's any good or not. So I'm not going to prejudge it. Just like a lot of these bad Marvel products, it's just kind of like they weren't for me in a sense. I've never been a fan of Captain Marvel, any versions of the Captain Marvel. I remember my dad brought me home a stack of comic books, and a few of them were Captain Marvel, like old school Captain Marvel. I was like, what is that? I want Spider-Man and X-Men. I don't want this crap. So I've never been a Captain Marvel fan of any form. So, I mean, I went to see the first one because of the whole interconnecting. We were all in on the phases and things like that, so we wanted to see all the movies. And I actually fell asleep during, like I fell asleep in the middle. My buddy woke me up for like the last 15-20 minutes of it, and then just like Miss Marvel, I quit reading comic books by the time her comics came, so I have no connection to the character. And at that point, superhero fatigue was setting in with me, so I was just kind of like, I wasn't consuming everything, only just stuff I'd be interested in. And I was like, this show seems like it's for teenagers, not really for adults who have no connection to the character, so I skipped that. I did watch WandaVision, which I thought was going to be a different show than what it was. I still ended up liking it, but I'd have loved it if it was just like an episode of the week sitcom in the different eras. I thought that was going to be a cool little thing to do, just do a sitcom, no interconnecting stories. So I was kind of let down when it was an interconnecting story, but what other Marvel things? Saw Spider-Man, saw Doctor Strange. I skipped the Eternals, but that was a while ago. So it was just kind of like superhero fatigue is set in for me, so I've been picking and choosing what I want to watch, and it's going to be things that I want to see. So we'll just kind of see. I'll just kind of see where that goes as far as that is concerned. So, but I'm interested in the Avengers. Like I said, the short list that I put out: Thor, Hulk, Strange, Fantastic Four, Vision, Spidey, Cap, Winter Soldier, Daredevil, Punisher, maybe Deadpool, maybe Wolverine, maybe some other X characters. That'd be really cool to see in Doomsday. And I hope this is just like a threat to Earth. Like we did the galactic thing, which is weird. You start with the biggest and you go down. But Marvel has always been my favorite when it's just kind of like on Earth, kind of like whether it's Magneto or Doom, Apocalypse, just worrying about Earth, not worrying about all the galactic stuff kind of thing. So I've always liked Marvel at its best in the comic books at that stuff. Like Guardians is fun. Thanos is a cool character and things like that, but it's one of those things. It's like I like the centralized Earth stuff, just like I like my Spidey stories more, not world ending but New York ending. Same with Daredevil, more of a grounded mobster kind of thing. I've always preferred the X-Men kind of in their own bubble, because like every time, because they're a team, So every time they do something, it's a bigger threat than, say, like a Spidey villain or a Daredevil villain. So you'd be like, you know what? If Magneto's really about to destroy the world, where the hell are the Avengers? Where the hell are the Fantastic Four? Kind of thing like that. So I've always felt that way kind of about the X-Men. Just like with Batman, I've always kind of kept him in a DC bubble away from everybody else, because it's like all of his buddies could solve Gotham's problems in a couple days. So having like Superman right down the road and like, hey, Soups, I need help. Boom, problem solved. Kind of thing like Nightfall. The story Nightfall doesn't work if Superman exists in Batman's story, because Bruce is exhausted. He's just completely wiped. Call Superman. Say, dude, there's this big ass dude on drugs. Go get him, Soup. I know Batman's got pride, but I feel he would still call for help if every villain from Arkham broke out. Like, he'd call up Flash or Aquaman or somebody. Which reminds me, it was like in the early 2000s. My buddy Jason had this comic book. I think it was just after No Man's Land. No Man's Land, with the earthquake and stuff like that, where Batman's penny sank to the bottom of, like, I guess a river or lake, pond, whatever, under his cave. And like Aquaman shows up with like a 6-pack of beers, like, if you ever need help, man, you just gotta call. And he goes down and I guess gets the penny back up for Batman or something like that. And it was the long blonde hair, blonde beard, hook hand Aquaman who did that. But now in my memory, when I think about that scene, I picture Michael Keaton Batman and Jason Momoa Aquaman for that. Michael Keaton's not even my favorite Batman. Christian Bale is, but for some reason in my mind, when I'm picturing out that comic scene now, because I can't remember the art for it, but I'm picturing the comic scene in it with movie characters, it's Michael Keaton and Jason Momoa, which I think just pick a Batman. I don't care. It could be Robert Pattinson as Batman, but we need to recreate that scene in like an extra, so Blu-ray extra or something, with Jason Momoa going up to help Batman get his penny. I just think that would be great, because Momoa is cool. Momoa is the reason why I even cared about the Aquaman movie in the first place. But yeah, so I'm really hoping for that to come out. The other cool in comic book movie news, the only really cool thing that I noticed about DC was they changed their logo for DC Studios back to the classic DC with the big blue circle around it with the stars, which, thank you, James Gunn. All your DC Studios movies could suck, but that being your logo, I am very appreciative of, because that's my DC logo. I mean, kid of the 80s and 90s, so that was the DC logo on just about everything. In fact, I should get a Ninten-Dad shirt done like that. Because I'm thinking merchandising. Subscription's growing, and I thank you guys for subscribing, liking the videos, commenting, things like that, so I definitely appreciate it. Once I do have designs, like I've made a couple of stickers. Real quick, I'll plug my stuff. Super Ninten-Dad, Ninten-Dad, and if you're not familiar with Japan, that would be Family Mart, Lawson's, and then Ninten-Dadcast stickers with the Dreamcast logo, and then you've got 7-Elevens holding internationals. These are Japan 7-Elevens, and then Super Dad 64. Or Super Nintendo 64. So I do got kind of like merch ideas. I'm not even sure what I'm doing with these stickers. They've been sitting there. I've been looking for something to stick them on. So yeah, as the community grows, and if people want stickers and T-shirts with those logos and different logos on them, I'll be glad to offer them through my wife's shop. Last week's sponsor, GutsyLittleMama.com. So yeah, just let me know in the comments if you'd be interested in a shirt or stickers. We'll work on that, because her and I made the designs already just for stickers for my personal use. So I mean, that's already there. So we just got to put them up for sale, and it's super easy. We got a drop shipper for shirts. We do the stickers in house, which I actually have some ideas for cases that I need to use her Cricut for to make them. But yeah, I started rambling again. But as logos go, that DC logo is my all-time favorite. Super glad it's back, and very excited for it. So yeah, I think that's about it. The only thing I can think of coming up right now on the Nintendo radar is I'm going to do some more streaming. This will be up before it, but I did do a speed run of Super Mario in the Nintendo World Championships with the Famicom controllers, which actually do make I think the game easier when you're using Famicom controllers. Or if you've got the Bluetooth Nintendo controller, same thing. But these came with the Japanese version. So I speed run that. I do it twice. My best time was my first time. I'm gonna stream that again. I'm gonna work on getting a better time. Because the first I got in my head at the end. I was on a pace to beat my first time. Then I got in my head. I was thinking too much and I messed up. So that's going to be up on the channel also. We've got I review the Mafex Bane, Nightfall Bane, which he's already put away. I'm not going to get him out of the case, but there's his face right there because it's got removable faces instead of heads and some grippy hands. So that review's going up this week as well. Wrestling 101, we create CM Punk in No Mercy. That is up currently, so you can find that on the channel. What else? There was one other thing that I recorded. So I did the speed run. Oh, a special unboxing, and you can't see it on camera, right? No, you cannot see any of it on camera right now, which is great. A special unboxing, which makes me now, I'm officially like a retro Nintendo collector because, as I explained in the unboxing video, everyone who collects Nintendo retro games, stuff like that, has this particular item, and I hadn't had it yet. I've been waiting to find one at the right price. Couldn't find one when I was in Japan last year, so I got it finally. So now I can consider myself a real Nintendo collector. So it's great to have that in my collection now, and it'll be my main unit going forward for these particular games. So that's cool. So those are the videos coming up. I've got another package from Surugaya should be coming today. So I'll get a video of that, and we'll have that up next week. So yeah, lots of videos planned. Sorry they haven't been as plentiful lately. The last 3 weeks, my wife and I were hosting a foreign exchange student from France, and we were doing a lot of activities with him and things like that, and doing a lot of hanging out, fire pits, grills, movies, things like that. So it was just kind of like I was exhausted, so I didn't get as much filming done as I wanted to get done during those 3 weeks. So I mean, I still got videos up almost daily, but you'll be having more videos, more streams now that that's over with, coming forward. And also, like, you can kind of see it over my shoulder. I'm redoing the lights on my DTOFs, and you've seen that light back there in past videos. So I'm getting like lights put up and everything for my different displays, so they kind of pop more. I'm gonna be doing a little more reworking, making this all look really nice and cool, and maybe moving the camera, maybe like tilting it so you see more of my figure. So actually, yeah, this might be the new view. This might be the new angle. I like this angle. And I don't have the lights in. Well, there's lights, but they don't match in the Ronin Warriors cabinet right there. But yeah, wow, such a better camera angle now. This is gonna be the new camera angle for the stream. I don't know why. Why was it turned? Why was it this way? I guess because I had figures back there and I was trying to show those off. I don't know. Yeah, I like this because then you can still see the TV when I have games on in the background, which I didn't do for this stream. I don't know why. You can see my game collection there of the N64 stuff, which I think, even though like my GameCube's over there, I think I'm going to move maybe GameCube and Switch right there. So you just see like all my, that will be like a Nintendo collection thing. So we'll see about that. So I'll get that all lit up soon too. But yeah, so that's just kind of another catch up, but we covered some news on this one. I'm going to go see Deadpool and Wolverine tonight. Maybe I'll do like a shorts review kind of thing like that, because it's a week out. I think most people who want to see the movie have gone to see it, and I don't think anybody who was on the fence have decided whether or not they were going to see it or not. So I don't think like doing a huge review would matter. So I might just do one on shorts after the movie. But yeah, take care. Have a great day, and we'll see you soon.